Hey guys, welcome to another MoFo Minute Plus. Alright. Today I'd like to reflect a bit on controllers. Back in the fall, the PS5 and the Xbox something, whatever the hell it's called, it's all very confusing, were released, and while they got coverage, there didn't seem to be much focus on the controllers. At least not from what I recall. I could be off on that. But it was almost as if they were taken for granted. But that's a good thing, because our expectations for controllers are not unlike our expectations for presidents. Do the job and allow us to overlook whatever flaws and issues you may have. Let us forget you're even there. Kind of like how the current one forgot our stimulus checks. Ideally, as soon as you hold the sucker, it should feel good, should allow you to become one with the game, should become an extension of you. The controllers for the two aforementioned systems are largely traditional, with some advancements, and that makes sense. I suppose at this point it doesn't really make sense to reinvent the wheel. Being a Nintendo guy, I've become accustomed to, let's say, more adventurous controllers, for better or worse. I recently purchased not one, but two controllers for the Nintendo Switch, and it got me thinking of the fluid nature of controllers, as opposed to the more static situation you find with game consoles. Unlike with PCs, which can feature all manner of configurations, the console experience is pretty much the same for the gamers that own the system. Downloadable updates and expansions notwithstanding. If I buy a Switch and you buy a Switch, our experience with the system will be largely similar. Where it can differ significantly is with the controller. And of course, this is nothing new. Take the NES. We're all familiar with the iconic NES controller. And once NES nostalgia started kicking into high gear, God help me, over 20 years ago, you started to see that design pop up on everything from t-shirts to wallets to graffiti. To say it left an imprint on the minds and thumbs of a generation of gamers is an understatement. I mean, without even holding it, I can feel it right now. So many countless hours spent that sucker in my hands. And that's pretty much the shared experience for a legion of NES fans. But it's theoretically possible, probably uncommon, but possible, that some kid back in the day played their NES games exclusively with an NES Advantage, this arcade stick-type controller that was released during peak NES era. Now, that kid's experience would have been very different than mine and millions of others. Same system, same games, but a very different experience, or at the very least, a different feel. Which brings me to the two controllers I picked up. For those of you not familiar, the Nintendo Switch is the first true hybrid game console, meaning you could play it on the TV and in handheld mode, which is how I mostly played it from the beginning. I just adore handheld gaming. But I also love playing games on a big screen, and after getting a new TV, I was very keen on doing just that. Thing is, the standard controllers for the Switch are the Joy-Con, and while they're great for handheld gaming, and good for some TV games, I mean, I played the entirety of Super Mario Odyssey with the Joy-Con in each hand, and I loved it, it's not ideal for all games. Explaining the existence of the Pro controller at launch. Problem there is the two Pro controllers I own, while having rad Mario and Link art, are wired, making it not ideal for the new TV setup. So the procurement of a proper Pro controller became necessary. Nintendo's first-party Pro controller, to me, is boring aesthetically. Now, I know aesthetics aren't a priority when it comes to controllers, but I'll take some spice where I can get it. Some flair. So this pretty coral-colored one is made by a company called Gulakit. Forgive me if I'm butchering that. They call it the Elves wireless controller, and I absolutely love that it resembles and feels like a hybrid of the Sega Saturn controller, the Super Nintendo controller, and the Pro. I mean, just look at that juicy D-pad. It's my favorite part. This is my go-to controller for more old school type stuff on the Switch, like the SNES games, the remake of Panzer Dragoon, and newer stuff like Octopath Traveler, which is SNES in spirit. Now, this one is more of a traditional Pro controller, but look how beautiful this one is. The color is listed online as blue, but it looks like more like a pale purple to me, and I totally love how it contrasts with the pink buttons. The really weird thing about it, though, is the feel. It has like a soft, velvety feel. Ooh, baby. You're probably thinking, this guy really needs to get laid. And you might be right. You might be right. Anyway, this is the one I use for more modern, like 3D gaming, like stuff like Super Mario 3D World, Splatoon. It's made by a company called PXN. I got them both on Amazon. When I was looking for the Pro controller, I stumbled across this one, but of course they didn't have this color, and this color was sold out. So I ended up getting the Coral one as a backup, and then this one came back in stock, so just ended up getting both, and I'm just so glad I did. It's great having the option to have both on the Switch. Alright, so that's it for now. I will be back in a few days with a new vid and a new comic. So if you could check those out, that would be super dope. Yeah, I will talk to you guys soon. Peace.